Republicans are getting ready for the new year and their new majority in the House. That'll happen officially just about 3 hours from now, but nothing can actually take place until Republicans select a new Speaker of the House. Voting set to start this afternoon. Joining us now for more, Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. Congressman, good morning. Great to have you on. Congratulations on the new majority. What happens today? Do you think Kevin McCarthy is the next Speaker of the House by this time tomorrow morning?
Well, Rob, Happy New Year, and thanks for having me on. Yeah, listen, I can guarantee you this. I'm going to make a bold prediction.
Okay.
If Kevin McCarthy gets 218 votes, he's the next Speaker.
I like that. That seems reasonable.
So, yeah, but let's be beyond honest and let's be frank and candid, Rob. It depends on what happens. I mean, if these 5 to 10 to 15 folks hold out and these Republicans don't vote for Kevin McCarthy, he's going to have a tough time getting to 218. I don't think any Democrats are going to come across, and I don't quite frankly think he's asking. So we have to, as a conference, get together and decide. Now, he did win the conference vote when we had an internal Republican vote. And the reason why we do that, Rob, is to ensure that the Democrats do not have a say in who the next Speaker is, just like they did it with us. So Kevin McCarthy won that vote 188 to 31. He raised $500 million to help get us into the majority. We're in the majority now. So, and he also knows, I've talked to him personally and said, we've got to paint with bold colors, not soft pastels. The American people don't want, John Boehner 2.0 or Paul Ryan 3.0. We want to go in a different way, a Ronald Reagan way, a Donald Trump way.
Well, but I'll just say, Congressman,
like that.
The Paul Ryan thing happened, you could say, because of Kevin McCarthy. The party had to beg Paul Ryan in 2015 to be Speaker of the House after McCarthy backed out at the 11th hour for whatever reason. And yes, the vote that you guys had, the conference vote November 15th, 85% were in favor of Kevin McCarthy. But something has clearly changed over the last 6 weeks. Do you think this will go to a second ballot today, which would be historic in itself?
Yeah, it hadn't happened in 100 years, Rob. Honestly, I do think that we're going to go to a second ballot and maybe even longer ones. I just don't want to see chaos to where the Democrats and the mainstream media then feast like little jackals saying that we can't govern.
Yes.
But I also understand, you got to get to 218.
Is there room for a Steve Scalise consensus speakership?
That's great. And listen, I'm a huge fan of Steve Scalise. I'm a huge, I just am. I think he's great, but he's supporting Kevin McCarthy as well. And we're trying to get to the 218 because what you don't want is to have this happen over and over again, Rob, where we have a clear consensus within the conference and 5 or 10 or 20 hold out. It just doesn't. And then you might get, we had a situation like that in the Texas legislature where a very liberal Republican ended up going with most of the Democrats and becoming Speaker, and he lasted for 10 years. It was miserable. So I never want to see that here in D.C.
Yeah, I think it was 1855. It was 133 ballots. Agonizing. Took 2 months to finally select a Speaker. It doesn't seem like we're there on Capitol Hill today. But you just said that list has grown from 5 names. We know the 5: Rosendale, Biggs, Norman, Good, and Congressman Gates. But there might be others on that list. Could they not show up today to the vote or just vote present and to sort of make sure that McCarthy does get to that 218?
No, that's certainly the case. I've talked to other members, and the consensus amongst members is that we're going to go to maybe a couple of ballots, but then just like the scenario you're outlining there is they'll make their point, then they'll start to vote either present or not vote at all, and then he'll get to, because you don't necessarily need 218, you need a majority.
Right.
You need a numerical majority. So also, Rob, you have to consider, will all the Democrats show up? They have a notorious, they love the proxy voting, and a lot of them don't like showing up. So
they love proxy voting.
Know.
Yes.
Right.
Kevin McCarthy says he's going to do away with that pandemic proxy voting, by the way, if he is elected Speaker. Congressman Pat Fallon, great having you back on. Thanks for breaking that down for us. We will be watching. Starts in just about 3 hours. We'll be watching today on Capitol Hill. Thank you.
No crooked establishment.
None of that twisting the
truth.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax.
Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think.
They
let me decide.
Newsmax.
Real news
For real people.